Okay, good evening, everyone. We are all welcome. Thank you for
Thank
being here and choosing to invest this time in your digital well. My name is Emmanuel Victor, and I serve as the community manager at Being Healthy Africa, where I support digital wellness learning and engagement across our community initiatives. This particular session is brought to you by Being Healthy Africa, a digital wellness organization which is focused on helping individuals and organizations live, work, and live more intentionally in a digital world like ours. We are also part of the Living Digital Website, a community where we don't just talk about digital wellness, but we put it in practice through conversation, weekly engagement, and structural behavior change. Our conversation today is titled When Youth Become Dependency, Understanding Digital Addiction in an Always On Culture. We all live in a time where technology is no longer just a tool, it is an environment. And if we don't interact our technology, so today is about awareness, not only awareness, but understanding and also practical insight. Permit me to introduce the speaker for today. I'm excited to introduce our speaker and our guest, Halima Nuruddin. Halima Nuruddin is the founder of No Outreach Program for Drug Education and Integration, which with the acronym NOEDER, and the conveyor of volunteers for mental health. Not only that, she is also a certified counseling psychologist, a mental health expert, a cognitive behavioral life coach practitioner, a rational emotive behavioral life coach, certified psychologist and therapist in addition, a counselor also for children and adolescents, an emotional intelligence practitioner, and a management strategist for people and resources. She is also a member of the Nigeria Counseling Association, a member of the World Federation for Mental Health, and also member of the World Federation Against Drug Abuse. Alima, we are glad to have you here. Welcome.
thank you very much.
I will now hand over to you as you take us deeper into the conversation for this evening.
All right. Thank you so much. Do you have my slides?
Yes, I do. You want me to
Okay.
project it for you?
Okay, I can share it from here.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Mm, Let me see. Where is this? Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, we can see it.
All right, beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about from habits to harm. We're going to recognize digital dependency. So basically, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to understand digital addiction in an always on culture world or an environment that we find ourselves in. So basically, we're going to explore how it affects how technology itself affects our relationship and how it shapes our mental health and our daily interactions. So before we start, I would really want for us to pause for a moment and reflect. Okay. I don't know how many of us actually calculate how much time we spend on our phones. Please feel free to unmute yourself so we can talk. If
It
we ask
can
the
be
question
scary
today,
checking it sometimes.
exactly. But today, how much time have you spent on your phone if you're supposed to have checked it?
We can actually even quickly check it. Just go into the settings of our phones. Let's
Beautiful.
cast ourselves.
Yes, please, let's do that. How much time have we spent on our phone?
So if you're using an Android device, just go to your settings. It's called digital wellbeing and parental control. If you're using an iOS, it's called screen time. So just go to the settings and you see it. So I have spent 7 hours, 17 minutes today.
Okay, I have spent 3 hours and 6 minutes on my phone today. So any other person want to share how much time they've spent on their phone?
I've gone for 9 hours, 15 minutes. Today
Beautiful.
this Calvin. Yes.
Okay. So Victor, you're our Oga in the committee. How much time have you spent on your phone today organizing us to be here? Victor, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm with you.
Okay, so how many hours have you spent on your phone today?
I haven't checked, but maybe less than 4 to 3 hours.
Okay, beautiful. So where does normal, convenient use cross into something that controls you rather than serves you? That's the boundary that we're now trying to look at. So come with me as we look at what is digital dependency. Here it is said that digital dependency isn't simply about spending time online. It's about what happens when that use of being to override your intentions, your relationships, and your sense of self. So when we look at it, we have where we have healthy use, which is intentional, balanced, and purpose-driven use. For some of us, we have to spend a lot of time on our digital devices. Sometimes it's due to the kind of work that we do. Okay, so we can actually categorize that under the purposeful and intentional reasons why we use it. And then we have the habitual use, which is the automatic, frequent, hard to control use. Now, some of us, the first thing we do when we wake up from sleep is to pick up our phone. Sometimes if we don't check that phone, we are not okay. And then we now jump into the area of dependency, which is the compulsive, distressing, life-disrupting use. Sometimes some of us, we are on TikTok until it is like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And then you find out that you've actually not been able to do anything productive, even with the fact that you're on TikTok, but you've just scrolled through different kind of videos for no just reason. From one video, you find yourself in the other, and before you know it, time have gone. So the spectrum is actually gradual and personal. Most people don't notice the shift until they are well into the habitual or dependent stage. And that's the reality of life. With a lot of things that you get addicted to or you become dependent on, you don't really know when you actually move from that point of, okay, I'm just using, to that point of, if I don't do it, I'm not comfortable or I'm not okay, or you start having problems with yourself. So recognizing where you fall is the critical first step towards change, basically. So why this matter is because digital dependency affects our mental health, whether we like it or not. It affects our quality of sleep. It affects our level of focus and our cognition. And then the bottom line is how it now affects our relationship, okay? So let's look at a bit of our mental health where we talk about it increase the rates of anxiety, depression, and emotional dysregulation. So most of the time, why that happens, it's because of there is the issue of you trying to be what you see on the devices that you're using. Mostly, let's now take it back to social media. When you see a lot of things happening on social media, there's that question of when will I get there? What's my timing? And you start putting a lot of pressure on yourself and things like that. Then your sleep quality, as I talked about it, it's either you are there for too long, too prolonged a time that you forget to sleep. I'll give you an instance. 3 nights ago, I was on my laptop, the lights were off, and I was using my laptop for a very, very long period of time. By the time I actually closed my laptop, this blue light exposure that we're talking about, I was actually suffering from it. Because even when I closed my eyes, I could see some level of light that was still in my head because of I was already seated in my darkness. And then the only thing I was using was the blue light from my screen to continue doing the work that I was doing. So all of that also have a way that it actually affects you. So it took me some time before my brain actually came back to regulate itself to the fact that I'm now ready to fall asleep and I don't have that blue light in front of me. And then all of those things, now my brain started restoring itself before I was able to fall asleep. So we have to also understand the effect that the screen light itself have on us. And then the focus and cognitive part that we were talking about right now. Those constant notifications, they actually affect our attention span. I know that we'll get into that also. Nobody creates a product that they don't want to make money from. So when you create a product, you want to make money from it. I'll give you an example. How many of us use smartwatches? Anybody? Okay. Tosin says you use a smartwatch. Any other person? Okay, beautiful. So what happens when you get that notification and your hand vibrates? The first thing you do is you want to know who is that message coming from. And by the time you check it, and to you, that little two-line notification is something interesting. You're quickly looking for where your phone is. And you might forget what you were even doing before that vibration on your wrist. So these are also part of the things that we're talking about. And then the relationship aspect, whereby because of your emotion might be too, how do I put it now? What's the word I'm looking for? Your emotions are actually in two different places. You're trying to concentrate on too many things. And then you find yourself not being present when you are supposed to be present in a particular relationship. It could be with your wife, it could be with your children, it could be with your, whatever it is, within the family spectrum or within the relationships, this thing that you're trying to create. So all of these are things that it has an effect on us. So now let's look at the science behind it. How your brain gets hooked. As I said, nobody makes a product that they don't want to make money from. If I'm going to be a scientist right now and I'm going to generate a product, the first thing I'm trying to do is, what is the dopamine reaction from the people that are going to use my particular product, especially when it comes to issues of things that you will end up being dependent on. Okay, so as I said earlier, every notification, like or new post, triggers a small release of dopamine. And that's the problem with dopamine. See, the pleasure that releases, it's not like it's too much, like you need adrenaline to pump the way. No. It's little by little that the brain rewards that chemical. That is all you need. That little vibration on your wrist has actually triggered a release of dopamine in your brain. So for the fact that you're quickly running to your phone, the person that produced that particular app that generated that vibration have made their own. They've succeeded. They've gotten what they wanted. So it creates a powerful feedback loop whereby you check, you get a reward, and your brain learns to crave more. That's basically what it is. So over time, your brain's reward system, it recalibrates and it requires more stimulation to feel satisfied. So if we now look at the dopamine loop, we have when the notification arrives, it sparks your curiosity. That's basically what it is. Then you check. You are rewarded or you are disappointed. That's basically what it is. So it's either you like what you see or you do not like what you see. But either ways, you've actually been there. You've picked up your phone. You had to check your phone to see what that is. And then your brain will log the pattern. So this is where it now starts creating the habit form. Is it a reward is it a reward system or is it a disappointment system? Your brain will now start creating the pattern. When this kind of notification comes in that you have to check, were you happy with it or were you sad about it? You are giving your brain work to do and your brain now creates a pattern. So the absence of stimulation, it becomes restless. Then checking becomes automatic and dependent. Okay, now let's take it a bit back to relationship right now, whereby maybe you have a boyfriend and then it's the first stage of the relationship, which we like to call the honeymoon stage and all of those things, okay? And then you send him a message or you send her a message and you're waiting for a reply. There's that constant pickup that you keep picking up to check your phone, picking up to check your phone. So in the process of you picking up to check your phone, has she replied? Have he replied? Have she messaged or have she not messaged? You find yourself now drifting into other apps because you don't want to drop the phone and then a message that you're waiting for comes in and you're not with your phone, because you don't want to give them even 5 or 2 minutes to say, okay, I sent you a message and you did not reply on time. So this is where that restlessness have now led you into another pattern that your brain is now registering and your brain will now start working on. So it says tech platforms are engineered to exploit this mechanism. As I said to you, even if I'm going to create an app or something that needs to engage the public, the first thing I would actually check is what is the dopamine reaction from the people that I get it on. That is why you find a lot of scientific research being done before you see an application is being released, because I need to know, would it be able to engage people? And then you keep checking the analytics to see, okay, how many people kept coming back and things like that. So as we talk about it, is infinite scrolling, variable reward. You may never know what's next. So you keep checking because you want to see what's next. You might check a video right now, is an AI video of storytelling and things like that. And before you know it, it has stopped in a particular place. And you're like, no, we have not finished the story. You go to check the page of the person that released that story. And then you find yourself coming back for more. And before you know it, you are checking on more stories that relate to things like that. So that is it. And then there's the social validation signals, which are always deliberately designed to maximize the time you spend engaged. So all of these things are things that are designed to keep you tied in, and then you're stuck. So here are some signs of digital dependency, which is your compulsive checking. A persistent hard to resist urge to check your phone, even when you know nothing important has come in. So you know that now this is becoming a problem. And then there is that offline anxiety where you feel uneasy, restless, or even panicked when you're without your device or disconnected from the internet. I know some people that cannot go without the internet because they feel like they are missing out on something and they need to be present. So why don't I have internet? That is why you see some people on some kind of posts, when you check, they are begging for internet. They practically don't have the money for that internet, but because they feel like any uptime that network goes off, they will miss on something. And at that point in time is when they believe something important will happen because they were not online. And then there's that unintended time lost, where you sit down to check one thing and losing 30 minutes or more without realizing it. That's where you keep drifting from one thing to the other because your brain needs more. You're releasing dopamine little by little every time you get that pleasure. It might be something that just made you laugh or something that just pleased you. And then your brain is in need of more. Exactly, the fear of missing out. So emotional escape right now, which is reaching for your phone as a default response to stress, is either sadness or boredom or discomfort. So rather than addressing the underlying feeling, you decide that, you know what, let me just get a distraction. Some people used to read before, but now sometimes you pick up the book and you say, even the reading is boring. Let me just see what's happening on Twitter. You are running away from something. It's easy to say that, at least this person's thought has been in my head for too long. I need to get away from it. And before you know it, you are on Instagram. And by the time you log on to Instagram, it's 2 p.m. By the time you realize what's happening, is 6 p.m. And you've not achieved anything, but you're just running away from something. And then you are. And funny enough, because of, I think it's all this thing that we call algorithm, it's very easy for you to think about something and then you pick up your phone, and before you know it, that particular thing that you were thinking about is popping up on all the ads that will come up on your phone. And before you know it, it actually gets you engaged. And then you are stuck there for hours. So the emotional toll that it has on us, as we mentioned earlier, we have the anxiety, we have the low self-esteem, we have burnout, and eventually we have reduced focus. So the psychological impact of digital dependency, it accumulates quietly over time. Okay, what begins, sometimes it could be a coping tool, can actively make emotional regulation harder, not easier. So you might be trying to run away from something, instead you fall into something that is even worse. And if you actually look at it, the pattern of dependency, be it maybe with drugs, or you're getting addicted to food, or you're getting addicted to something, it actually is something that starts gradually. Maybe for you, it started off as an escape from one thing, and you find yourself neck deep into another thing. So the anxiety, we talk about constant connectivity, keeps the nervous system in a low-grade state of alert, worsening worry or overthinking. For low self-esteem, we said social comparison, uncurated faiths, distorted self-perception, and fuels feelings of inadequacy. It's so funny how sometimes you would look at somebody's life right now and you would feel like, oh my God, why am I in this position? That person is my age mate. We should be in the same place. And then sometime down the line, you find yourself hearing the story of, this person actually even borrowed that thing to do this thing. But for some weird reason, you might be learning from it, but for somebody else, they have actually not learned from it. So some people, it might take them a couple of incidents before they actually come to reflect that, oh, okay, this is low self-esteem. I need to do better. I need to appreciate myself. I need to actually understand that everybody is running their own race at a different time. But that's actually what that particular feed was designed to do at that particular time. And it has actually achieved its goal, which is to make you second guess yourself. So the issue of burnout, which is the inability to mentally log off, okay, this prevents true rest, leading to chronic emotional and cognitive exhaustion. So this is another problem that we actually have from the issue of social media. You burn out, and why are you burning out? And most of the time, this burnout is a lead from all the comparison that you're doing, all the feeling of, I have been trying, why is it not working out for me? This person just started yesterday, and this is where they are. And you start thinking of 1,000,001 reasons why you have tried and you have failed. And before you know it, you find yourself in a dilapidated state of thinking, you know what? I've given up. Let me just be looking at how these people's life is going, and you get pleasure from that, and that is it. So you have actually ruined yourself emotionally, which becomes now you going into issues of depression, anxiety issues. All these mental health terminologies now start applying to the situation that you find yourself. Now we have the issue of reduced focus, which is fragmented attention. It makes it hard to sustain concentration. It affects your work, your creativity, and also your learning, because you keep drifting from one thing to the other. You might be trying to read something, and the next thing you are thinking of is, let me just see what's happening on this particular platform. I will come back and finish reading it. You've now been completely distracted. And before you know it, you've lost time. Yes, inability to sustain focus. So here is the lifestyle impact. Now, the sleep and energy, whether we like it or not, you actually regenerate your energy when you have very good sleep. The reason why research says that you need to sleep for 8 hours is not because they want you to oversleep, no, but it's because they need your brain to rest so that it can actually focus, function better when you are back awake during the time of day. So late night device use delay sleep onset and reduce your REM sleep. Okay, leaving you perpetually tired and more likely to reach for your phone for a dopamine boost the next day. So that's just the problem. So the REM sleep is actually at that point where you actually have that deep sleep. And for most people, that deep sleep is not more than that first 15 minutes of when you actually fall asleep. But if you fall asleep at 3:30 and you have to wake up at 4 or 4:15, your REM sleep has not really sunk in for your body to actually relax properly. So you are at the risk of waking up and you are looking for another dopamine boost to actually start off your day. In the process of you trying to get that dopamine boost, you are now stuck to your phone again. And as we said, relationships and connections, where you're physically present but mentally elsewhere, scrolling, texting, or half listening. So those around you feel it. It's like you're trying to counsel a client and then the client is talking and you're on your phone. Automatically, you have sent a wrong message to that particular client. So all of these things are things that we have to also take into cognizance. And we have productivity and focus. So study shows it takes an average of 23 minutes to regain full focus after a digital interruption. So imagine you've had a digital interruption and you have a deadline and you've already wasted 23 minutes struggling to regain focus. So how long do you now have after you've regained it in 23 minutes? Let's say you have an hour or an hour 30 minutes. So you've practically lost 30 minutes trying to regain focus because of a digital disruption. Now you have only 1 hour to deliver on that particular job that you have. So you see how much time you have lost just because of singly picking up a phone due to a notification that came in. So frequent notification doesn't just distract, they fundamentally impair deep, meaningful work. So research shows that simply having a phone visible on the table, even face down, reduces the quality and depth of in-person conversation. The truth is, even if your phone is faced down, for the fact that it would vibrate or it would ring, it is actually affecting you because your brain will keep going back to, there are some times that you ask yourself, okay, what if it's important? And you give yourself that as an excuse to check your phone, to say maybe it's because it's important, that is why I'm checking it to see it. Then high-risk behavior to watch out for, which are late night scrolling, FOMO, as we mentioned earlier, fear of missing out, compels reactive, anxious checking. Okay, and then you have the constant multitasking, which is toggling between apps, conversations, and tasks may feel productive, but research constantly shows it reduces quality, increases error, and it exhausts the brain faster. I had a client once that said to me that his friends say that he is always busy. And I had to ask him, I said, oh, really? He says, yes. I said, why do they think you're always busy? And he says, because he's always on his phone. I said, okay, so what are you doing on your phone? The truth is, even he could not answer that question. But you that is passing by, seeing somebody who is constantly on their phone and it looks like they're doing something to you, you will think they are busy. But the truth is, at the end of the day, if you actually sit down to ask that person, you've been on your phone for 2 hours, what have you actually done? What have you achieved? That is when you will understand that the multitasking that they are doing is jumping from Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all of those things. But it's not because of anything productive has actually come out of it. While for some other person, they might have actually gotten 2 jobs and they're trying to submit a proposal, that's actually their own form of busy, which is the healthy kind of busy that we mentioned earlier. So, and then late night scrolling. For most of this, we would have to be able to know that from this particular time to this time, I don't want to be on my phone so that it will help my brain to reset. So a moment for self-reflection. So now this is where we take a breath. This isn't about judgment, as I said, it's about honesty. So you read through these questions and notice your honest reaction to each. So this now is just like a little, how do I say it? A little task for all of us. So the first one says, do I feel uneasy, anxious, or irritable when I don't have my phone with me, even for a short period? That's question 1. Ask yourself honestly, do you feel anxious, uneasy when you don't have your phone with you for a short period of time? Question 1. So the question 2 says, do I often find myself on my phone longer than I intended, unable to stop even when I want to? That's question 2. And the last question says, do I reach for my phone automatically when I feel bored, stressed, or emotionally uncomfortable? So these are questions that you ask yourself. And trust me, I know that you know that the answer that you give to yourself, you don't need somebody to tell you whether you are a healthy user of your device or an unhealthy user of your device. So it says if you answered yes to one or more of these, you're not alone, and you're already taking the most important step, which is paying attention. So when does it become a real problem? It's when it interferes with your daily life. It's when you can't function properly, that's when it becomes a real problem. When it harms your well-being, when you feel worse, more anxious, more depleted, just by watching videos on Instagram and seeing things about somebody else's life, and then you now start thinking of different ways that this has come and affected your relationship, it's now becoming very, very harmful. And then when it damages your relationship, you've tried to stop but cannot. When you reach that part of trying to stop but cannot, so that is when you know that right now is not a situation that you can do on your own. You might genuinely need help to be able to stop. So this is how we break the cycle, which we need to first of all understand the triggers, okay? There is the boredom, stimulation, and novelties, which is the sixth variety. It wants you to do different things. It wants you to jump from one application to the other. It wants you to see what's happening here and what's happening there. And then there's always the underlying need. Everything that you have to do in counseling, psychology, therapy, one thing that you have to address is the underlying need. And for you to get to the underlying need, you need to know, how did this all start? You keep prompting and prompting and prompting, and at the end of the day, you'll be able to get to that underlying needs. So, which is loneliness. You feel connected to the community. Because at the end of the day, by the time you open the comments on a particular video and you hear this one is talking about this one is saying this, that one is saying that, you feel like this is a community that you belong in. And because of they don't know you, you don't know them, and you feel like, okay, because of that, no judgment that is within this space, everybody is just here to banter themselves. You also feel like you belong to that community and you keep coming back. And then there is the stress, which is more like it helps you to relieve and escape from reality. So funny enough, if you actually look at the things about dependency, as I said earlier, it's all like for somebody that is addicted. You reach a point whereby you just want to escape from that particular thing that you have been running away from. And then you're like, just one puff and I'm good. And then you find yourself coming back tomorrow for another puff. So it's also part of all what the dopamine release and reaction is actually asking for. So once you identify your personal triggers, you can begin to respond to them intentionally, rather than reaching for your phone automatically and on autopilot. So these are some practical strategies. First of all, we need to set limits. So use screen time tools. For most of us, it would work and all of those things. And then silence non-essential notifications. You create phone-free zones. Some of us have notifications for everything, even games that we play on our phone. There are those adverts that they advertise. The notification is on. And the moment that notification comes on, you find yourself going to play the game because you have clicked on it. And then you are already there. And before you know it, you have spent hours playing that particular game. So for something as trivial as a game, you can turn off that notification and then check out to see how important this is. And then you now start categorizing them so that you can put your notification on based on the importance of that particular application that you want to use. And then they create phone-free zones. So you can decide that in your house, is in the living room that you can use your phone, but when you get into the bedroom, your phone is off. Like for me, anything from 9:30, I'm in focus mode. It's not a do not disturb, and it's because of you don't have clients that are reaching out to you, but it's called focus mode for a reason. If you call me once, it will not come through. So if it's really important, I believe you would call again. That's the way I designed it. So anything from 9:30 in the evening, you must be able to know that you have to call me more than once if it's very important. So if it's not important, you call once and you feel like, if the phone rejected my call, all fine and good. That means it wasn't really that important for us to have that conversation. And I don't get to see any notification when I'm in focus mode. Because for me, that focus mode is the time that I have to spend with myself. I have spent so much time dealing with other people's problems. Let me also use my last 3 hours before I probably fall asleep to now understand my own emotions, regulate myself, and then be able to fall asleep. So you can choose that your bedroom is your phone-free zone. You can decide that your dining area, when you are there, is your phone-free zone. So it just depends on how you are going to do it. Because for some of us, during the course of the day, you cannot do without your gadgets. So at least, even if it's by the evening, try as much as you can to allow your brain that time to unfog itself and then rest a bit. So some practical strategies, as we say, is replace. You don't just remove. So you could read a physical book. Yes, because we all have books or something that we want to read sometimes on our phones and all of those things. I personally make it a habit to even go to a bookshop and try to find 1 or 2 books to read. I travel with a book, a hard copy book. As much as that particular book that I'm holding, I have the e-copy on my phone, but I still have a hard copy of it because as we said again, you're trying to detox yourself from screen time. So you are the one that would make those conscious efforts to be able to put yourself there. For some of us, it's exercising, mindfulness. You take yourself out, you enjoy yourself. You have a different form of dopamine release now, which is now you being one with nature as it so bees. And then you have a very good time and you enjoy yourself. For some, it's actually having real conversations, which amazingly, some of us these days, we don't really know how to have this kind of real conversations. So, and the reason why is because you find yourself in situations whereby when somebody is sitting in front of you, you are lost for words. You really don't have words to say or how to express yourself. So it's good for you to actually try to, what's that word I'm looking for now? Invest more time in physical one-on-one conversation, and it shouldn't just be a situation of every time we're just online. Personally, I don't like talking on the phone. Sometimes even when you send me messages, I find it hard to reply because I am just exhausted, maybe from the day's work. But then because of the nature of my work, I know I cannot run away from trying to have online conversations with people and things like that. I would prefer that we actually just have a very short Zoom meeting of 30 minutes and I'm done with that session, than for me to be going back and forth, exchanging messages with you. How are you? I'm fine. How you understand? Let's just have a call, 30 minutes tops, we are done. But for some people, they would actually prefer to still go and have the long chats and all. But for me, that's just me personally. Then building healthier digital habits. So you use technology with intention. So before you pick up your phone, ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish right now? Is there a reason why you are picking up your phone? Or there is no reason why you are picking up the phone? You have to be able to answer those questions internally, and then you now move on. So intentional use means choosing to engage, not drifting into it by default. You set a purpose, complete it, and put the phone down. There was a time where I felt like, because I am in a setting where people are forming busy, let me use that word, because at the end of the day, I actually came to realize that it was me that was putting pressure on myself. I had this group of colleagues whereby they were always busy, always on their laptops. And I was like, is it that me? I don't have job now. I don't know what I'm doing. That's me. I'm now sitting down here. I'm looking at them. I'm even understanding people's personality. Why is that one talking to this one like that and all of that? And then I sat down next to one that was one of the people that I was admiring, like, oh my God, this person is so busy. He's doing a lot. For the life of me, I could not believe that this person was playing Candy Crush. And it got to me for a moment. I'm like, okay, if the most busiest among them, I'm sitting down today, privileged in my own head, thinking I'm here to learn from this person. Let me know, is there an online business you are doing? What graphics are you designing? What are you, is it proposal you are writing or something? And then you're playing Candy Crush. And I to ask him, like, come on, what's going on? What level are you was the first question. And he said level 2. And I'm like, oh, at least me, I'm higher than you. And he goes, oh, you too, you play? And I was like, yeah. And that was how the conversation started. And I was like, okay, I actually thought you are always busy. He said, I only made a create work for. And that was when it hit me. When we walk into a place or when we go online and we see a group of people doing what seem to be busy, or they are doing so well in their life, or they are doing so much, the truth is we never really know the truth behind what that person is doing. When you create content, you don't know how much time the person that put out that content has taken to create that particular video. Do you know how many times they recorded before they were okay with what they put out there? Those are things that we really don't pay attention to. But for us, what we see is the finished work. We never really actually have the full story, but we see the finished work and we start using the finished work to judge the reality of that person's life. That is how we now have to start questioning ourselves to be able to build ourselves to be better than a person with a low self-esteem. So break the mindless scroll, which why we actually put the phone down. You can decide to put it face down and put it on silent for a couple of minutes. And then you remove some of the social media apps from your home screen that you don't use. And then you use grayscale mode to make some of the screen less visually stimulating. So for some of us that like to see it looking very bright and colorful, you can decide to use a grayscale theme on your phone to make it exactly. So you can actually do that. Then you reduce specific times. Yeah, I'm sorry, you schedule specific times to check social media instead of browsing continuously. So you can decide to say, I will check my social media. Yes, it's not like I'm saying don't check your social media. No, but at least when you are checking it, check it with intention and purpose. That's basically what we are saying here. When you want to detox your brain from too much work and you want to laugh over something, at least you can say 15, 30 minutes. That's not bad at all. Okay, so even one intentional tech-free per hour can meaningfully reduce anxiety and improve your sense of presence and control. So this is the power of community. As we're here now, we are all a community. So we hold each other accountable, we share boundaries, and we have open conversations. So all of these are things that actually help us to boost and help ourselves keep each other in check. So mindfulness, which reclaims your presence. So be where you are. What basically that means is you practice noticing when you've drifted into automatic phone use. So that means for you to be where you are checking yourself. You are able to know that this has been like, how many hours have I been on this phone? I be like, no, let me at least calm down small. Let me do something else. You understand? That is you being where you are. And don't judge yourself. Because the worst critic you have is yourself. And the truth is, the moment you start judging yourself, you start killing your consciousness by telling yourself, what is there now? Is it not just phone I'm checking? Somebody else is doing something worse. No, please don't judge yourself. Just let it come naturally, because that is what would help you become better. Then you protect your time. You guard your mornings and your evenings. I'll tell you, the brain, the way it functions is if you pick up your phone first thing in the morning before anything else, if it's a bad thing you see, whether you like it or not, it will affect the way the rest of your day goes. So all of these things have effects that we do not see. So we balance our online and offline time, which is a rich, fulfilling life happens in both worlds, is like work-life balance type situation. So that's basically the same thing that you will apply to your online and offline presence. So some of the key take homes that we will have today is awareness creates change. Number 2, small step matters. Number 3, you are not alone because we're all in this together. And then balance is the goal. So this is our little call to action. Start today. One step is enough. You reduce your screen time, you take regular breaks, and you try as much as you can to be present. So these are some reflective questions that we can also ask ourselves, use the answers to check on ourselves, but please let's not judge ourselves while we are in the process of answering some of the questions. What was the most surprising or challenging idea from you today? Which sign of dependency resonated most with you, with your own experience? What's one change you feel ready to try this week? So for reflection, what does a healthier relationship with technology look like for you personally? Who in your life could be an accountable partner on this journey? Don't worry, we are here as a community. What would you do with an extra hour each day if you weren't scrolling? That's a question that you're now left to answer yourself. So thank you so much for showing up and engaging with us. Awareness is where all change begins, and you've already taken the step today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was just clocking it as as you were speaking. You were just dropping it front, back, and center. Thank you so much. I believe that everyone can. I mean, you can see people's reaction to that session. Everybody can relate to the perspective in one way or the other. This was really amazing conversation to have. So very quickly, we'll just be going to the question segment. So if you have a question, kindly just raise your hand and we'll call you up to ask the question. One of the reasons why I'm also super excited about this conversation is because we are starting our 7 days digital reset challenge tomorrow, and you've just set the foundation for what we hope to achieve in the next 7 days. Naomi, I can see your hand up. Please unmute and ask your question.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much to the organizers. It's been such an insightful session. So I have a question. I am currently in school, and if you're not online, they can cancel class, they can fix class. So much can happen like when you're not online. So I find I'm constantly checking my phone and I hold certain positions and like, oh, I could get a message, I could get a notification and everything. And then something that I did because Mr. Chosin had a session with us at YSB, I turned off my notifications to my WhatsApp. I think I did that for about 2 years. But today I turned them back on because I realized that there was this fear of missing out. I was always anxious. So somebody messaged me, so I was constantly opening my WhatsApp and then nobody had messaged me. So what I did instead today, and I think it was quite effective though, I don't know. I could see my notifications and I could tell that, oh, nobody messaged me. And when someone messaged me, if it was something I could respond to at that time, I responded to it. But then my screen time didn't reduce. Okay, on a regular day, I think I do like 6 hours. But then I find out today was about 4 hours and everything. But basically, I don't know. I'm trying to achieve digital balance, but then I'm really struggling. Like I'm really, really struggling because of my lifestyle, because I'm in school. And then even with the no phone areas, I live in a hostel. So my bed is literally where I'm always sitting down. So I can't really say that, oh, I can't use my phone when I'm in my bed because I work in my bed a lot. So yeah, I just wanted to ask like a solution that can be provided in relation to my lifestyle. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Naomi. So everything is one step at a time. So let's take it now from your WhatsApp, okay? As you mentioned, you get notifications on your WhatsApp. Is it a school group on your WhatsApp?
My school, okay, most of them are academic, but then I also hold other positions in school, like in chapel. So some of them are church related, but then they stem from school. If I graduate from this school, I will not be on like many of those group chats anymore.
How many of these group chats are you in?
But the real number, it could be as much as, let's say, like, if I'm being honest, maybe like the dormant ones can be like, let's say 50, but the active ones can be like 10 or 15 or at sometimes 20. There's a chapel executives one, and then we have different centers. So I'm in HOD in another center. There's that group chat. I'm heading a department. So my members in my center, I have a group chat with them. We have another one for the whole department that is not center based. I have my class group chat. We have another group chat that's for announcements, so we don't miss information. My friend is currently organizing a program. So we have programs that come up, like now the program is this weekend. After this weekend, it won't exist again. But I'm on the publicity group chat. People are running for positions, and I'm on like 2 of them. They're quite a number, if I'm being honest. And then there are still like other ones. Okay.
And you're saying that all of these groups are priorities, they are all important, right?
I don't think all of them have the same degree of priorities. I'm being honest. There are some group chats that I could just swipe their messages when I see it. But I think that some of them are quite important.
The funny thing here is you're not just digitally unbalanced, but you're actually putting too much pressure on yourself and your mental health. Because number one, apart from your digital use, from everything you have said right now, you have so much going on. What time do you really have to rest? What time do you really have to self-reflect? What time do you really have to decide, I'm in school right now, after I'm done with school, what's the next step forward? What do I plan to do? How am I planning to do it? Do you actually have time to be one with yourself? In all of these, trying to arrange all of these things that you just mentioned, because you said 15 groups. That's a lot of groups for one person, and they're all active. They're all doing something. You have to do something in 15 groups. Wow, I have to say kudos to you, really, honestly, because for me, I've archived a lot of groups that are on my phone, because at the end of the day, somebody has to be there to do something. When I'm not mentally stable, when I'm burned out, when I'm non-existent emotionally, what cup am I going to pour out from? So this isn't just about digital balance for you. This is also about emotional regulation. Because whether you like it or not, this is taking a toll on you. So you use your phone in your bed. Yeah, all of us do that. We all do it. But you also have to sit down and decide what positions are very important. Those ones that would actually have impact on what you plan to achieve in the long run. Focus on those ones. Even if it's, because to be honest, I was expecting you to say like 5. And then I had more than 5 because I was like, okay, if it's 5 in my head, in my calculation, I was planning to say you can actually the ones that are not important, or mute them for 1 year and wait for whatever is it that comes after that 1 year to see how it goes. That's another way to go about it. But you have to check it, really. You really have to check it. Being in more than 10 groups that are actively functioning, and you have to function in all of them. I'm sorry, but let me just ask this question. How much are we making? Naomi, how much is our money?
I don't think I'm making a lot of money yet. But I
You've
think that
already
also
answered from your laugh. So, okay. Thank
you
you,
so
ma.
much, ma.
All
Thank you
right.
so much, ma. Thank you very much, ma.
Thank you. So, any other questions, please? Okay, Tosin, I guess the floor is yours now. No more questions.
Yes, I think there are a couple of questions. I'm just trying to
Okay.
admit people in. Fatima, you can go in, or you can just let me check anybody raising their hands. I'm trying to admit some people in.
Good evening, ma.
Yes, good evening.
Thank you for the informative and lovely section.
Thank you so
My
much.
question is that whenever I'm back from work, like after Isha, after praying, I'm always on my phone, even though I've like restricted my social media, like TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, like for 2 hours. I have to like be on the screen on those particular app for 2 hours. But I always found myself going back to reset the time to be more than 2 hours.
Why do you need to be on the screen for 2 hours on Twitter and Instagram? Does it have to do with your job?
Yes, that's why I normally keep it at 2 hours. But whenever I'm back home, I always like increase the time to be more than 2 hours.
Why do you need to increase it? The 2 hours is not enough for you to achieve what you have set out to achieve?
I don't know. I will just be scrolling on social media, watching videos, and I'm finding it like fascinating. Why can't I stop? Why will I keep on increasing the time?
That is the thing. Now you have answered the question now, because there's no reason for you. What do you do on social media when you come back from work?
Just viewing status or watching videos on TikTok.
So as I said again, let me ask you this question. Does it have to do with task from work?
No.
Exactly. So you see, that is why you have to put a timer, because 2 hours is even too much for you just scrolling social media after Isha. Because that's basically what you're telling me, is you scroll social media from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Am I correct?
Yes.
And
And sometimes add more time on it.
So you need to actually stick to your 2 hours. Instead of increase the 2 hours, reduce the 2 hours, whereby you can even ask your phone to go to sleep after 1 hour, 30 minutes. So you can be scrolling through your social media and your phone will go blank. And that automatically tells you to drop the phone. But the problem now is, will you drop the phone?
That's the problem.
Exactly. So you now have to find something else to replace that time frame with.
Okay. Like I
Yes, that's
recently
another
got
thing
a
that you
book.
have.
I
Okay.
recently got a book because I normally read ebooks, so I decided to get a hardcover book. But still, I
Okay.
still find it. I will just drop the book and still go back to the social media.
Yes, that's because your habits, your use have now become unhealthy. So sometimes, as we said, it's a brain reset. You have to consciously reset your brain to actively know that you can actually get that same dopamine release from reading that particular book. Try as much as possible. I'm sorry, but I have to say this. If you are looking for another distraction, don't read academic books, because the truth is academic books can be very, very boring for some people. And then when you are trying to rechannel your dopamine release, reading academic books, except if you want to be Albert Einstein, but it can also be boring, that will now take you back to the screen time that you are running away from. Okay? So please, you need to be able to find something more engaging. Go outside and have a conversation with your mother. Let her annoy you small, and then you can come back and fall asleep with the anger. Or let your brother tell you something that you do not like. And, go back and have that physical interaction with family and friends. Because whether you like it or not, that 2 hours that you're spending on the phone is disconnecting you from relationships. So that's why just try it. Go back and have a conversation with them. When your phone goes blank after 2 hours, go and have a conversation with your mother. As a matter of fact, go and make hot tea and drink. The weather is hot. Let the sweat put you to sleep. So just try something different that will actually distract you from the phone. And then instead of increase it, please reduce it to 1 hour, 30 minutes. Then tomorrow, reduce it to 1 hour until you're able to regulate it properly.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely. And our community manager has dropped the link for the challenge that will be starting tomorrow. So there's one thing, it's one thing to want to build discipline. It's another thing to have a system around that discipline that you're building. If you notice when she was speaking, she spoke about replacement. So it's not enough to say, okay, I'm not going to use my phone now. If there's no alternative, it becomes super difficult to maintain and sustain that discipline. So that's why we are creating this challenge, and there are systems and structures that will help answer or amplify most of the things that she has said. We have 2 more people before we wrap up for today's favor. In bullet points, drop your questions. Favor, are you there? Or Ademola? Or your question has been answered?
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for this wonderful session. I really enjoyed it, and it spoke a lot to me and about me as well. So I have a few questions. Basically, it's what I've actually been battling. I've tried to look for a way to see how to live right. Oh, it's actually difficult because I'm someone that, first of all, I have 2 establishments outside where I live, like outside Plateau State, outside Jos, that needs my attention at any time. And I also work remotely. And I also have mails to respond to. And these mails can come in at any time of the day. To the extent that when I want to go to bed, I keep my phone close to me, that any buzz or any vibration I get from my phone wakes me up from sleep immediately, and I have to check my phone. So I don't know if there is like a strategy or something I can actually do to help myself from this, because I feel like it's already affecting my mental, like it's affecting my mental health. So I don't know.
Okay. Favor, thank you so much. So I have one question for you. Your establishment outside of where you stay, are they designed to run themselves when you're not there? Or are they designed in a way that without you, they won't function?
They are actually designed to run themselves, but there's an aspect, there's a place I come into play. there's a place I come into play, and my attention has to be, I have to be there for it to work. Okay, it's actually a tech innovation where it's a food ordering app. It's an app I developed, and it's already running live in a particular state, in Taraba State. So people can actually place order at any time without me. But when restaurants place withdrawal, when dispatch riders place withdrawal, I have to be there to authenticate and to accept this withdrawal and to facilitate payment and all.
Okay, let's
That's
do it
one
this way. You've actually just made your work easy, but the funny thing is that you don't know that you've made your work easy. What happened to automations, your AI automations? Why don't you use that? If you can't use that, why don't you schedule timings whereby when you release payment for the restaurant, it's at 8 a.m. or 7 p.m.? Or let's say, for instance, where you release payments for riders, it's about 6 p.m. in the evening. That way, you've taken off a toll from yourself. There are applications that you actually do online jobs for, but they will tell you that no matter the money that comes in at this particular day, it won't be released to you until 2 p.m. or 12 p.m. or so the next day. Do you see what I'm saying? But if you say that every restaurant that requests a release in 2 hours, you are quickly running to your laptop because you need to release the payment, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. When there's a lot out there right now that has made our life easy. I tell people, I say, you give me a task. A lot of people say AI is bad, but for me, AI has been good because I can finish my task in 15 minutes and I have enough more time to do other things. So you actually find other things. That's why you see all these digital things that we're talking about. Whether we like it or not, it has its good and its bad side. As much as we're always on culture, at the same time, we can always be on culture and make money and still utilize time. Do you see the difference with my own culture and the culture of somebody who is just scrolling through social media? I could wake up at 2 a.m. and I have this crazy idea of something I want to achieve. I will write it down first of all, and then I will put it on prompt on my Gemini, which is linked to my calendar. And when I wake up in the morning, a lot of people that know me knows that if you are sending me a message before 9 a.m. in the morning, I'm sorry, you are on your own. It has to be an emergency. Somebody must be dying. But I don't wake up and the first thing I go is check my phone. This client have sent a message. No, I will only do that when I schedule you for anything before 9 a.m. And if I schedule you for any call before 9 a.m., I'm well aware and conscious about that. Because whether you like it or not, everything I do is with the programming of my mind. I will tell people, if my mind is not at 100%, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Because that is me pouring from an empty cup. So the minute you said but in the issue of is your company running itself or is it designed to run with you, I already knew that that's the loop that you now have to now bridge. Exactly. So look into automations. Find a way that you don't have to wake up from sleep and then be running to pay everybody. Redo it, re-strategize, and then send notification to all your clients. Tell them that due to so and so and so, from now on, it can be from July or June because you might need time. But just make sure that you have that time frame and make sure that is not we like to set goals that are not achievable. Set goals that you can achieve. Do your research. Find out, would automation work for you? If it will work for you, beautiful. Look for one automation, something that you can actually use, infuse it into your work, and you go with the flow. Or you send them an email and tell them that any payment before 12 will be received the next day by 12 or by 2 p.m. Chikibam, life is good. And you sleep well and you wake up well.
Thank you so much.
Super well said. Again, without structures, we will seriously burn out. We tell clients, if you don't have working hours, you will work every hour. It's your responsibility to create the template with which those that are relating with you will work with, or else you will fit into their own template. So if you don't have there's something called the communication charter, for instance. Now, if you don't have the time frame with which you are doing certain activities, then everybody can reach out to you at every point in time. Can we just
Exactly.
drop emojis for Alima? Can we just let her know that we are feeling her, we are appreciating her as we go to the last
Thank you.
as we go to the last question? Kelvin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Olu. I so much appreciate all this. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm joining from Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm just amazed by the level of presentation and awareness that is in this session. I really don't have much to say. I just wanted to thank Alima for having actually delved so much deeper into this.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. Then just to also to just respond to Favor and the first lady who just asked a question. The whole idea is not about doing without technology or rather getting rid of technology and gaining the analog life. The whole idea is being making good use of it. And in just trying to make this much more understandable, there is a difference between digital minimalism and digital maximalism. What do I mean now? When we minimalize, we make good of the least that we can have access to. But when we try to maximize, is that we throw our energy in everything that come by. In the process, we wallow into the seas of chasing digitality, into the extent that the truth is, because there are always new innovations almost each and every other day. We can never really keep up with the race. But when we are when we become intentional and maximize on minimalize on what we already have, then we keep off the pressure. So really, it is not that serious. And the truth is, we cannot solve each and every other person's problems. And just like the first lady responded, that she when you are off WhatsApp or this digital media, you realize that nobody even cares. Nobody really finds you. But when you are not there, you always feel like somebody else you are missing out on something. So really, we should really address this by embracing what we are now referring to as joy of missing out. From FOMO, fear of missing out, to joy of missing out. Feel comfortable by not fitting in. And in the process, you gain balance and you use technology more responsibly, and it takes care of you rather than it exhausting you. Thank you very much, Olu, for organizing this. I'm looking forward to more sessions of this nature. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's truly a pleasure. Uh, Randy says that what if that quick payout is favor selling point? What if he changes his policies and loses client? I will have a question for Randy right now. Very simple question. What if Favor finished accumulating all the money and he ended up spending it in my therapy sessions? So, Tosin, back to you now. I think we have come to the end of this session, or do we have any more we need to add?
Yeah, I think we have come to the end of it because we need to begin to wrap up, and I need to introduce our project that we're starting tomorrow. I think what you said is mic drop. We have to get comfortable with losing clients if it will cost us our health and well-being. Because the truth of the matter is that the reason why you're pursuing all that you're pursuing to make the money you desire to make, the whole also culture is to build a better life for yourself. And so if you build this better life for yourself and you don't have a quality of life to enjoy it, at what cost? And so the perspective is not, because if you notice the way Halima spoke, she gave balance to the conversation. So the perspective is not on thinking about the clients that you will lose. You also have to think about the clients that you will gain because of the structure that you've put in place. Again, the key word is having that structure. So you have to do your research. She did mention that you have to know whether the systems, some of the ideas that she suggested, it's something that can work in your industry. Nobody knows your industry better than you. This is your space. So it's time to do a little bit of research. what can work, what kind of systems can I put in place, what kind of structures can I put in place, how long will it take for me to put this structure in place, how long will it take for me to put this system in place. That's why she gave an instance of, you might decide that the change process will start in July. So what that then means is that between now and July, you are gradually onboarding your clients and your customers, letting them know that, okay, so there's going to be a few adjustments. So it's a slow process. The key thing is that you're able to build a structure that protects your health and well-being, and then you're able to create a system that help ensures that the clients that will stay, and then you're able to get new clients. Because there was something that she said for me that was just mic drop. It's one thing to help people, it's another thing to adequately help people. We're a generation of people that have not helped ourselves but are trying to help people. The problem is not that the people you are helping are not getting help, it's just that they could have gotten better quality help, if that makes any sense. And so the more you feel yourself, the easier it is for you to feel other people. But we're a generation of people that are just okay with, even if it's 5% of energy that you have, let me just give that 5% energy, and then you are helping the person in a way that he can't even help himself. At the end of the day, you are not well, the person is not well. To what end? But you are able to recalibrate yourself, pause, gather your energy, and then from the wealth of your energy, you can now pour out to other people. So our anchor to you is, go back, do your research. What kind of systems, what kind of structures can you put in place so that you are not burning out in the way that you asked the question. If you can see the slide on the screen, like I said, tomorrow is Digital Wellness Day. It's a day dedicated to advancing the cause of digital wellness. And the idea for digital wellness is just essentially how we're able to stay productive in all our endeavors while avoiding the associated harms that come with it. If you notice when Alima was speaking, she didn't say anything about not using technology. We are not an anti-tech movement. We're a system that is helping you build structures that keep you productive while avoiding the associated harms that come with it. And so instead of just having a one-day event, which is an awareness campaign that happens on World Event Days, we decided to create a system which is a 7-day challenge to help build, and it's a repeatable system essentially, if you can see my screen, to help you build systems across 7 days, across different templates. We developed this challenge off of our no gadget hangout that is based on 3 key pillars, as you can see from the screen: intention and attention management, structure, and then traction over distraction. And all these things, Halima spoke to them today. The end goal for us is to see people have the discipline and the structure to achieve the end goals. And so if you're not already in the group, I will share the link again. Do ensure to join. Once it's tomorrow, nobody can join again, because we are building accountability and you can't miss a day. You have to start day 1 and then submit on day 7. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the group. This video, this session is recorded. The link will be shared in the community. One more time, as we wrap up this session, please help me celebrate our guest speaker, Halima. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule to share from the wealth of your experience. And how many people noticed that she didn't hold back? Like, she gave it back to back. Even in answering the question, she wasn't sugarcoating it. She kept it real, because the ultimate goal for her is to see a better people, a better society. So thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule to join us. Thank you to the participants also for taking out time. You guys had a very busy day, I'm sure, and you still took out time to join this conversation for 1 hour plus. We do not take you for granted. We appreciate you for spending your time with us. Until next time, we'll be sharing. So this happens every month. We'll be sharing in the next few days the next session and the date and the conversation we'll be having. Do have a lovely night rest, everybody. Good night.
Thank you so much. Good night.